And now it's time for another boot camp tradition, the Stellar Arts Marketing Video Reel. Enjoy a compilation of some of the most thumb-stopping and heartwarming videos arts organizations have produced over the last year. This year's video reel highlights many of the ways you can tell your story through video, like announcing in-person seasons, highlighting safety precautions, advertising digital programming, fundraising, educating, and simply delighting your fans. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get inspired to create amazing videos throughout the year ahead. This video reel was curated by CI, but compiled and edited by Platinum sponsor Cinnovative. Stick around at the end of the session in the same stage for a final stretch break with the fabulous Akua Noni Parker.
So the real thing is being together. This is what makes us human. Being together, enjoying performance, enjoying art, enjoying music together. Those who are making it and those who are attending it, they belong together.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to emphasize that Michelle and I never expected our portraits to be painted. It's not one of those things you kind of think about growing up. But if you've got to have a portrait and you've got these incredible artists doing it, we couldn't think of any place better to launch a national exhibition than in our hometown of Chicago and the Art Institute.
I'm comedian Sam Adams, and this is my offbeat art tour for Untitled. This particular painting right here, we're going to talk about colors. In particular, I'm going to talk about skin tones, okay? The one thing I've noticed, he doesn't paint his characters black and white. He's South African. When you think about South Africa, you might think of apartheid. And when we think of things like that in race, we tend to break it down in black and white. Me personally, as a comedian, I've gotten over 35, 40 million views just on one video titled True Colors, where I tell people to go find your true color. Go to a hardware store, get a paint chip or two, match it up to your skin. Turns out I'm not black, I'm a shade of brown called Chocolate Indulgence. But when I look at his work, I notice that it's colorful and the characters, they are colorful. Dandolo, the witch doctor's assistant, he is brown skinned, but he has the pink. I talk about being pink or brown. He is pink and brown, okay? Coming from the eyebrows and into the nose. And then he has the blue colored hair. Very colorful individual. You don't see black and white as you go through the exhibition. But what you do see in this one, and you will notice that there is a precious stone in a wheelbarrow. And I think of shovels that you'll see other characters holding. In South Africa, mining is a huge deal. So they have wheelbarrows. And this precious stone is not unlike some work from the late 1500s, or 15th century, I should say. There was the Garden of Earthly Delights. This depiction here is almost an exact replica, except that globe-like figure in the Garden of Earthly Delights has been replaced here by a blue orb, but it's got screws and sharp objects coming out. So is that what makes it precious? I don't know. It's just something that I wouldn't want to lift myself and get pricked all across, but otherwise it's very similar work. Look up Garden of Earthly Delights and then go back and look at this work, and you'll see for yourself that, again, Simpway likes to show everybody that he is in tune with the past and bringing it into the pink universe. A few other things to point out in this painting. First of all, the witch doctor's assistant, he has hooves for feet. He also has what is seen throughout the exhibition, and that is on the shoulder, it has like some type of pillowy like padding with braids coming out. And I have no idea what that symbolizes, who takes the time to braid it all up before he gets out and starts pushing that wheelbarrow, beyond me. But it's also shown in other work in this exhibition. Also, you will see that that wheelbarrow sort of straddles an interesting line between pink ground, which again, I believe the pink symbolizes freedom, but just on the other side, there's fire. Fire. So you have to be very careful with that precious jewel not to get into the fire. Just a few more things to notice as you look at this work.
In 2020, we were reminded of just how much the arts mean to our community. Their absence only amplified their importance. And whether you missed the UMS events you've attended for decades, or discovered us for the first time through our digital presentations, now, more than ever, we need you. We need you to invest in UMS as we look forward to live performances again. To invest in what makes our community vibrant, bold, and joyful. to invest in art, creativity, and possibility, to invest in the future of who we are. You've been part of the crowd. Now we're asking you to be part of our community. Give to the Forward Fund and support UMS as we safely return to live performance. What are you looking forward to?
We love the arts so much in this part of the country, in Minnesota, and to have no theaters performing, no choirs singing, no orchestras playing, that had a public health impact on our community. Music being performed and made by the Minnesota Orchestra is a form of healing. If ever there was a time when we need healing as a population, it's now.
One of my main projects has been how to get our musicians back into Orchestra Hall and on stage and performing while keeping everybody safe and healthy. Dr. John Hallberg connected us with some researchers at the University of Minnesota, so we entered a study with them. The first phase of this study occurred with wind and brass musicians, the people who can't play with masks on. They studied the aerosols that were produced when they played their instrument. They came here to Orchestra Hall in a second phase of the study and tested those same musicians playing right on our stage.
The main goal of my study is to really understand this airborne transmission under different indoor settings. It could have different ventilation, different geometric settings indoors. People pay special attention to the indoors because in the indoor spaces, those aerosol particles can accumulate over time. So they have much higher risks compared to the outdoor spaces where the aerosol particle will disperse very quickly. We use our equipment to measure the amount of aerosol particles produced when they're doing different instrument plays. We have been able to evaluate the amount of aerosols produced by different types of wind instruments. And so this gives us an idea about the risk level associated with different instruments.
They tested not only the aerosol concentration that came from the instruments, but how it flowed from the instruments. And what we learned from that was the flow of the aerosols from all of those instruments was contained to less than 30 centimeters away from the instrument, which means that within a foot, the aerosol concentration is the same as ambient air, which was huge for us because we were already maintaining really strict physical distancing.
Those instruments, they don't produce very strong airflows. And these instruments are built for making sound, not making flows. And so what we found is actually a lot of particles, once they're generated by this instrument play, they don't spread horizontally and instead they rise vertically. That gives us some unique insight.
The trumpet, which is a fairly small instrument and doesn't have a tremendous number of twists and turns in it, that does produce the highest level of aerosol concentration, but it's also the instrument from which the air flows the least distance. Conversely, the flute, you might think, well, oh boy, the flute is very straight and it maybe just comes out and goes out in a jet sideways. The airflow goes farther from the flute, but the aerosol concentration of the flute is among the lowest of all the instruments. And it still doesn't travel further than 30 centimeters.
And the lowest risk level of instruments is tuba. We found tuba produce the least amount of aerosol particles, and the amount of aerosol we measure from tuba is even less than people breathe.
One of the other things that we learned, the air exchange in the auditorium at Orchestra Hall is extremely good. The air is exchanged fully in that space 8 times an hour. Backstage spaces, the air exchange is higher than intensive care units. That's obviously a real advantage to us now. This study gave us the information that we could use as part of a multi-layered approach to safety and health and mitigating as much risk as we possibly can. We all wear masks. We do a self-check before we come to work. We're also testing all of our musicians and staff who come here for rehearsal and concert weeks. They all are tested for COVID-19.
I'm just so proud that the University of Minnesota was able to contribute in this expanding knowledge base that we're creating. The more that we can add to the literature, the more that we can add to our scientific understanding of what happens when we sing, when we play an instrument, that has huge implication, not just now, but in the future.
Overall, I really like the outcome of the research, and it tells us airborne transmission, if you can understand it piece by piece, you can develop a very, regulated preventive strategies to cope with it.
All of these things together, these studies that we're doing and our experiences in the hall now, are just taking us every week one step closer to when we can know everything that we need to know to welcome our audiences safely back into the hall with us, and we can't wait for that day.
So long the phone came and gone, at least 27 times. Fell through the floorboards in the deep dark darkness, we never saw it again. So West Virginia's home, and that's where we're staying, to the blade of the Bible hill. Jesus is wicked, so we just keep on picking at the scab of the open mind.
Jean Tinguely's sculptures are all about coming into motion. At the beginning of the 20th century, a lot of artists became fascinated with motion and art. It was Tinguely's great breakthrough in the 1950s to motorize the sculptures.
I have a distinct recollection of seeing these works by Jean Tinguely for the first time in spring 1965 here at the Museum of Fine Arts. And I watched with wonder and amazement as these machines, these objects, lurched into action, groaned, belched, moved nervously. And one of them, this Metamatic here, even made a drawing that visitors could take home.
It comes out of movie culture, it comes out of machine culture. Some of these machines that you'll see in this gallery move very quietly, almost beyond perception. Others are great, loud, clattering beasts. In Tinguely's childhood, it was World War. The machine could be a force of entertainment, but also of destruction. One thing that Tinguely embraced was that his works were ephemeral. In 1960, he created a monumental piece that self-destructed in the garden of the Museum of Modern Art. That was called Homage to New York. We actually try very hard not to let his works self-destruct, to preserve the spirit and mechanics of Tinguely's work. He always wanted to engage the viewer and to delight them as well.
Can you imagine something that has never been done before?
I can imagine umbrellas for your shoes.
I can imagine a coconut cap.
I can imagine jelly bean teeth.
Gutai was an art movement from Japan. It began in 1954 after the Second World War and ran up until 1972. It was founded by artist Yoshihara Jiro and a group of other artists who all wanted the art world to do things that had never been done before.
They thought art, up until then, had been old-fashioned, and they described it as a fraud. In 1956, Yoshihara Jiro wrote the Gutai Group Manifesto, and in it he talked about the art of the past, and said,
"Lock up these corpses in the graveyard."
Yikes!
Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Afrofuturism is the cultural movement that intersects music, visual art, literature, politics, science fiction, and of course, technology.
It is a way of seeing Black people thriving and surviving in the future context and being the masters of technology rather than being the tools.
It is the high culture of the African diaspora and how people of African descent operate with agency.
What if, in fact, we thought of the experience of African Americans as not just rigidly historical and connected to slave ships and pyramids, etc.? What if we also added the metaphor of space travel, the metaphors of technology and robotics? Not only would that revise how we remember race, but also it would give us a vision of the future in which Black people played a central and significant part.
How do you know I'm real?
Yes.
I'm not real. I'm just like you.
I guess the very first person I think of for Afrofuturist music, of course, is Sun Ra, because he, was a man from the South, from the Jim Crow South. And he actively remade himself into this wonderful astral being, right?
He is, in one sense, wearing the symbols of the Egyptian god Ra, but he's also articulating himself as being an alien, saying that he's technically from Saturn.
I am Sun Ra, ambassador from the intergalactic regions of the Council of Outer Space.
He was trying to explain why he had this sense of otherness on this particular planet. And yet simultaneously, he felt this almost spiritual connection to really helping and transforming the earth.
You don't exist in this society. If you did, your people wouldn't be seeking equal rights. You're not real. If you were, you'd have some status among the nations of the world. So we're both myths. I do not come to you as a reality. I come to you as the myth.
We have to admit that there is this kind of burden of historical consciousness that people of color, particularly Black people, carry, right? Whether it's the histories of trauma, the histories of white supremacy, the current realities of violence and white supremacy. And so Afrofuturism allows a revising of that historical burden, but in a way that's more accessible, creative, and innovative as younger people want to transform how we see Black people, how we see Black possibilities.
It's defining history for ourselves or recontextualizing what happened in the past. Your imagination is either in the service of your own interest or somebody else's. I'm a big fan of Stacey Robinson as a visual artist. He said you have to be able to show people the future before you explain it to them sometimes. And so through his art, he visually demonstrates what this possible future might look like.
The cultural shift is happening, and that is an amalgamation of Afrofuturist ideas coming to fruition.
Jordan Peele's Get Out, which opened up a whole lot of doors for people to have these conversations in art.
Black Panther really brought this vision and this ideology into the forefront. Lovecraft Country. If you want to know visually what Afrofuturism represents, watch that show.
Definitely Janelle Monáe. She kind of does a remix of what Sun Ra did.
It shifted the consciousness on how Blackness is viewed in society.
When I found out that Carnegie Hall was interested in doing a citywide festival on Afrofuturism, I was so excited. What was once on the outskirts of society as now so fascinating, so intriguing, and so powerful that it has reached the mainstream of society.
This is Carnegie Hall getting ahead of the game. Afrofuturism is still undefined, meaning it's still quite energetic and quite powerful.
Audiences should look forward to being transformed. They should look forward to feeling both a deeper sense of self and a sense of being connected to a larger universe.
It's going to be a constellation of ideas and concepts, not only from music, but art, education, philosophy, and literature.
It's not about legitimizing, it's about collaboration, this unification of cultures, man. You know, it's going to take Carnegie Hall into a whole different place. So this cultural exchange that's about to happen, it's really magical, man. It's a powerful time. It's a powerful time.
mir erhellt. Ich seh wie ein Engel im rosigen Duft sie tröstend zur Seite bestellt. Ein Engel Leonore in der Götten sogleich still, der führt mit Freiheit ins himmlische Reich. You want the truth, you want the truth, you want the truth, but you don't want to know.
I remember our sweaty, aching bodies of our dynamite, dancing to Lucy Pearl.
To fulfill my last wish on Earth, please.
How to disappear completely inside of yourself. Get it together, get it together, get it together.
Beautiful sweaty summers and grass and dust and skin.
Get with it. It's healthy. It's called
I don't wanna lose you now. I'm looking right at the other half of me. The vacancy that's set in my heart is a space, and now you're home.
White bread, they think I'm white bread, just like Wonder Bread, like I wasn't bred right. White bread, they think I'm white bread, just like Wonder Bread, like I wasn't bred right. White bread, they think I'm white bread, just like Wonder Bread, like I wasn't bred right. White bread, they think I'm white bread, just like Wonder Bread, like I wasn't bred right. People said I'm white bread, just like Wonder Bread, like all I got is white kids, a widespread race of Caucasian. Must be a white town that she was raised in, or any other variation of that phrasing. But on every occasion, I'm of the brown persuasion, a product of US-bound migration, a combination of Latin roots and the inclination for dreamy American pursuits. Holla, that's the bread that they ate next to the town I was raised. While we praise Jesus, my friends play dreidel, dreidel. In the winter we like Wonder Bread, like I wasn't bred right.
Who wants to hear some good news?
Well, we're back in business, boys and girls, just like the old days.
No way! I'm so excited!
That's the best news I've ever heard.
Maybe we should just get tickets.
All right, let's get tickets.
What I really want more than anything is this. I want people who live in communities to go to a movie theater and get up and look at each other afterwards. I mean, we help each other when we go to a movie theater, we really do.
Let's all go to the movie.
The Apollo has been around for 85 years, and it is a beacon for the Harlem community.
This is where it all started. This is the original.
Energy is talent at its best.
If you don't know about Amateur Night at the Apollo, I mean, what you want entertainment for?
Apollo means everything to me growing up as a kid. Watching black folk, get a chance to do their thing, and it just blows your mind. There's incredible DNA attached to it.
The Apollo has had quite an evolution over its 85 years. The doors opened in 1934, and it was one of the few theaters that you could see people of color on the stage as well as in the audience.
When you think about the stories and the artists that have graced the stage that we're sitting on now, it's immense.
Fast forward, as we think about the Apollo today, we are really the only performing arts center in the United States that focuses on the African American narrative.
It's a big part of our mission, not only to become a home for artists, but also a home for culture and culture building. As we think about the future of the Apollo, we hope to transform and build a new 21st century canon where African American voices do sit at the center.
The range of our work, the theater, the comedy, the dance, the festivals, I think it inspires.
When you see work here at the Apollo, you're seeing and experiencing a moment that can quite frankly happen at no other theater. We as an institution want to be able to support the development of the new work, the instigation of creativity.
For me, every day is a standout.
Every day is a new reason to just explode with joy over the process that we're in.
I can't think of a better place as an African American artist to say, look who supports me.
Whether it's through song, whether it's through a play, to be nurtured in a space that strives for excellence is an amazing thing, and we need more of it.
Another way in which we've been a home for culture is through our education program. We're training young kids of color to run our cultural institutions of tomorrow.
The Apollo has helped me fully realize my love of the entertainment industry.
This place has showed me that there's no limits to what I can do.
We are expanding for the first time in our 85-year history.
We will have 2 new spaces at the Victoria Theater. And we hope that these new spaces fully allow us to stretch our wings even further to become a home and a hub of creativity 365 days out of the year.
There's no Harlem without the Apollo.
We need the Apollo for the future and all of the great people who are to come.
It deserves to be here and to be sustained.
The Apollo is in the business of creating and cultivating beautiful art, love, joy, and peace. If we can't get it at the Apollo, I don't know where else we can get it.
Hello everyone. Again, my name is Akua Noni Parker and welcome to our 3rd stretch session. So I decided to do a little bit on the floor. Many of the stretches will be similar to the one standing, but you might be able to see a little difference. Maybe stretching on the floor might be better for you, and so you'll learn some new things for yourself and your body. So we will start with our legs out. You can have them relaxed if you'd like, or you can have them engaged. Totally up to you. And we'll start by rounding our back. Remember when we rounded our back and we pushed forward? Like someone was pulling behind, we're pushing forward. And then we'll press the arms again, and our chest raises diagonally forward. And we'll round the back again. You want to feel like your 2 sits bones are evenly into the ground. And come up and push the arms back, reach, back, push, push, push. Let's do 3 more like this, rounding, like someone's pulling you back, but you're pushing and reaching forward. And reaching forward. And 2 more times rounding. And press. Last time rounding. And press. Good. So get those muscles engaged a little bit. So this time we're going to do a similar stretch that we did when we went to the side. So you can use your hands to really help you find your sits bones. The same way we had the 3 points of our feet into the ground, now we're working and we're pretending like our sits bones are the points of our feet and we're sitting into the ground. So Let's take the right arm out and up like we did before, and you'll bend the left elbow and reaching over, and feel that nice long stretch. Up and over. Again, the left hip is already sort of rooting down into the ground as you lower the right elbow. That's a great stretch. I think I feel it better on the floor. Reaching up, and right hip roots down as the left elbow lowers. Remember, someone's pulling this hand, so you're reaching and up. Last time, wide, reaching like half of the rainbow, left sit bone into the ground and up. Now, just to get a little bit lower, we'll make our way to our right side. And you can have this foot here for support if you want, and we're just gonna lay down. So what you want to do is slowly walk yourself up, slowly to a sitting position, like you're sitting on that hip, and you'll feel sort of the same stretch that you did when we did the kickstand stretch. And then just easily walk yourself back down, sliding down. We'll do 2 more. Walking up, up, up. Use your hands to help you up. And lower down. Last time. Really use your hands if you need. You want to try and get as high as possible so that you can get the stretch around the hip. And since we're up, we'll just swing our legs to the other side. And the right leg helps us in the front if you need, and we'll lower down. So we'll slowly walk up and walking down. And up. And down. Really use your arms to help you if you need. Last time, up. And we'll stay up. Now we're gonna make our way to our stomachs, and we're going to work our backs, even though we're laying on our stomach, right? So I'm going to face the side. And what you're gonna do is place your hands one on top of the other and place your forehead on the ground. Now, your arm of choice, slide that arm out and just lift long, like you're reaching out your fingertips, and lay the hand down and replace it under your head. And do the opposite side, reaching out. Reaching that middle finger out long, lifting the hand off the floor, and lower, and bring it back in. We'll do this a few times just so you can really see how it engages your back. And lower, and down. The other side, sliding out, and lift, reaching long though, and lower, and down. Let's do 2 more times. Reaching out, other side. Reach out, 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 out. Lower, and down. Last time. Reaching, sliding the hand out, reaching the middle finger long, and lower, and down. Now we're already here, so we're going to work our legs. So again, we're resting our hands on our forehead, we're on our stomachs, and I'm gonna lift my right leg. I want to sort of go out towards the wall below me and then lift. Yes? So almost like I'm gonna shift and stand on that wall and then lift my leg, just hover a little bit and lower. That's it. Reaching that foot to the wall below me and lifting, hover, hover, and lower. Let's do this 4 more times. Reaching out long. It engages the core. Lifting the leg, reaching still, and lower. Reaching the leg long, and hover, down. 2 more times, reaching out, hover, and down. Reaching, and hover, and down. Good. Pushing your way back. And if you can, be careful of your knees. And just now rounding your back, rounding forward. If you need to support yourself with your hands, rounding your back. Just relax there for a second. Remember your opposition. Yes, I can support myself with my core, but I can also feel like something's pulling me this way, and I might be pulling in opposite directions. Bring our legs to the front. Making sure, again, those sits bones are rooted into the ground. We'll reach our arms out long, 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 long. Palms face, dropping the elbows and the wrists and the hands, and place them down and see if you can press up. Lift your body up a little bit. Your sits bones just hover over the floor and down, and reach the arms out, long, and palms face, dropping the elbows, the wrists, and the hands, and lower. Bring them in and push, reaching up, reaching with your chest up, sits bones down, pushing up. Last time, this time we're going to reach out, palms face, and we can go forward. Just round the back. Just round the back. If you can't touch your toes, it's fine. Just reach for them by rounding the back. And come up. Thank you so much for stretching with me in these 3 sessions. I hope you've learned something that you can take home and use sometime in between the day. You can find me on Instagram at onlyupward, as well as at _Kuz_kitchen. That's at _KUS_kitchen, KITCHEN. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you feel great in your body.